Hello, welcome to day 3529 of the lockdown. Today's video is about online teaching, so I'm going to share my top 5 tips of teaching online. I've been teaching for about 6 weeks. Obviously, there is still a lot to learn, and for those of you that might not know, I've only been teaching in general for about 6-7 months maybe, so I'm no expert on anything. I just thought I'd just share what I've learned so far. I've been meaning to make a video about teaching in general, teaching English in general, but I had no time before, and now I'm not teaching, so I'm not teaching face to face. I don't know, maybe sometime in the future I will make a video about being a newly qualified English teacher who ended up in Italy. Anyway, so my top 5 tips. Drop the titles. Okay. Number 1, planning time. Use more time, have more time, allow more time when it comes to lesson planning, because it takes longer. You need to prepare everything in advance. For young learners, especially if you're teaching young learners, it's incredibly important to have all the instructions written down in your PowerPoint. So if they cannot hear you properly, because they're already finding it difficult to understand what you're saying because of their level of English, have the instructions written. And also, you cannot improvise as easily as you could do if you are in a classroom, so you have to have activities planned in advance. So yeah, number 1, allow for planning time, because it does take longer than a normal lesson. Number 2, if you have a book, for example this book, if your students have a book, don't be scared to use the book. Obviously, don't just use the book because it's boring. We don't do that in EFL teaching. I find it boring, students find it boring, and it's not as interactive and as engaging, so so students lose attention quite quickly. But if you have a book, you could use it for some exercises, for the reading, for the listening, and then you could easily just show it on the screen as well. So number 2, if you have a book, don't be scared to use it. Just use your book as much as you can, especially if technology is not working as well as you would like to. Number 3. Now, I've no idea what software everyone else is using, but we're using Zoom, and a lot of teachers in general, from what I've gathered, are using Zoom right now. So my advice is, if you are using Zoom or any other platform, try to use the breakout rooms function, because it's amazing. The students can work in teams or in pairs. You can pop in and listen and see what they're doing, and it makes the lesson more fun rather than just everyone working together or just you, because obviously it doesn't matter if it's an online lesson or a face-to-face lesson. Teacher talking time should be reduced to the minimum. Unfortunately, with that, teaching online is not as easy, because it's difficult to have group games, group activities, like 2 or 3 groups in direct competition and so on. And sometimes you might nominate someone, but they can't hear you. There are problems with technology. So try to use the breakout rooms as much as possible. Okay, number 4, don't be afraid of silence. One of the great benefits of teaching online is that you can mute everyone. If you have a large class, especially large classes of more than 5 or 10 students, or even if you have a small class and they're quite noisy and chatty, too chatty, mute the students and they can hear you. They can write if they need to. They just unmute them when you want them to speak. It makes life so much easier, so it helps a lot with classroom management, because we're not afraid of silence in the classroom when you're doing something, an activity or an exercise. Why we should be, although it does feel weird when it happens online. I don't know why, but don't be scared of silence. And number 5, the great benefit, again, one of the great benefits of teaching online is that you can use technology. Obviously the downfall is if technology doesn't work, you cannot teach at all, but you have the technology, so you could keep it interactive using online games, online platforms, quizzes and so on. I'll show you Kahoot a lot. So students need their phone to log in, and it's an online competition basically. So everyone, I wonder if I could show you. You just log in, so the students go in, they write a nickname, and then questions come up. There are questions about everything on Kahoot. You put a pin and let's just create one. So you could find ready-made Kahoots, or you could create your own Kahoot, obviously, but that takes time. So you're the host, so your students see your screen. The music is, I find, a little bit annoying. So they have to go to that page. I'll just show you. Enter the pin. So you go in, you put your nickname, okay, go. So this is what the students are saying, and this is what you're seeing. So if I have one player, you can see the name of the players here. You click start, and this is the teacher view. And this is the student view. So you cannot see the question here, they can only see your question on your screen here. Obviously there are a lot of websites you could use, there's a lot online. Share your own down here so we can see. Twinkle is a great one for younger learners as well. What else have I used? You could create your own quiz. Also with younger learners I use Quizlet. But yeah, if you're a teacher and you have any advice, just comment please, because I'm still learning, so any advice or any resource is actually very useful. So these are my top 5. Number 1, planning time. Dedicate longer time than usual to do it than normal. Use a book if you have it. Again, don't use it all the time or for the whole lesson because it gets really boring, but you could easily adapt the exercises in the book. Also, if you have the e-version, so you could show it on screen, it would be amazing because it makes things easier. Breakout rooms, if you have the functionality to do so, put students together so they would work with each other and it's not just you speaking. This is not lecturing. Number 4 was, don't be afraid of silences and muting students. Number 5, and the most important, keep it interactive and engaging, because that's what EFL teaching is about. I think that's how teaching should be in general, but especially with EFL, the main reason I was drawn to it was how much engaging and fun and enjoyable can be for students. It's not just like when I had my lessons on with just someone talking to me and just like doing exercises all the time. So there you go, these are my top 5 tips. So any other tips or any advice, comment below. And I'll see you next week on the next video, which I have no idea what it's going to be about, but who knows. Bye!